Fangs ain't what they used to be. Whom are we waiting for? Well, I like a nice juicy neck. Preferably female. But if needs must.
Victim or terrorist? There exist certain creatures whose intimate lives seem bound by invisible chains to the supernatural.
Sure. Say what?
They crave solitude.
Ça, c'est moi aussi.
Their only wish is to be alone, to dream.
Ça, c'est moi aussi et aussi.
Their imaginations are so developed that their vision reaches far beyond that of most men.
Moi! That is definitely moi.
So you agree? You're a vampire.
Never. I am a novelist, a poet, a playwright, a translator, a man of letters.
And you're talking to a dummy, Dipso. And those penile, prehensile proclivities of yours are called fangs.
Well, dear dummy, only you could appear to me as if in a dream.
But you're dead. Definitively deceased. And you smell. You're a reanimated corpse. Chances are, if you got it up, it would fall off.
You mean I can't masturbate? But that's what makes us human. That's what differentiates us from the animals. If no house of ill repute is available, then we can spill our seed with gay abandon.
Tough titty.
Vampire? Me? Literature. The first appearance of the type was in John Polidori's 1819 tale titled with remarkable brio, Vampire.
And who was the vampire hero?
A nobleman like me, a good Anglo-Irish stock.
Other characteristics?
Aloof,
Just like you.
brilliant,
Theoretically, just like you.
chilling,
Definitely just like you.
fascinating to women,
Indisputably just like you.
and suavely evil.
I'll go along with that.
Don't be ridiculous. I'm noted for my generous nature.
Drunken driving, causing a major accident under said influence, shagging other men's wives.
So I made the occasional mistake. Now, if my memory serves me correctly, Mr. Polidori's story was begun one literary evening at the Diodati home of Lord Byron.
You should write a play about it.
I couldn't possibly do that.
Why not? It's got everything Mary Shelley, 18, sexy and unmarried Mother Percy Bysshe Shelley handsome, the doomed poet who left his wife and 2 small children for her.
I don't do historical.
Bollocks! It's a gift. Claire Claremont, Mary's half-sister, pregnant with Byron's child, but loathed by Byron, who's shagging Polidori, who's jealous of the relationship between Shelley and Byron.
But
no buts! Shelley comforts Claire, who wants Byron but is having an erotic relationship with Shelley. Who doesn't know that Mary is jealous of Byron? I hope you're all following this now. It's magnificent stuff, the real stuff of drama. Blood, sex, violence, more sex. What more do you want? What's wrong with it?
too much plot, characters too complex, narrative, too much of it.
But what else is drama?
The drama resides in the elimination of plot, in the stripping back of the narrative, in the reduction of character to essence.
You're a fucking vampire, not a literary critic.
What year is it?
What's the last thing you remember?
I'm getting drunk.
Mm-hmm.
Shagging.
Mm-hmm.
An American cigar.
Liberation.
It must be the south of France, circa 1945. But why did I come back in 1945?
Search me.
You seem to be remarkably well informed.
I read the papers, listen to the BBC, hobnob with the intelligentsia.
If I'm a vampire in the south of France in 1945, won't I stand out?
Amidst Americans.
You have a point. But why am I here?
Ah, why are you always here, or here, or here?
Well, how should I know?
Well, I will tell you why I think you're here.
To give the world the benefit of a superior intellect, a superior novelist, a superior playwright.
I was talking. Where are your manners?
Manners? Mine are impeccable. Don't get your dwarfy knickers in a twist.
Dwarfy? That is not a politically correct usage.
You're scarcely 3'2", dwarfy. I was merely being precise.
Precise, huh?
Ha! It's an illiterate colloquialism learned from American movies. I'll thank you to speak in the proper English, or else elocute in French.
Elocute, you condescending prick. You partaker of prostitutes, you arrogant cockholder.
It takes two to cuckold.
It takes two to kill someone. You're supposed to have studied philosophy, logic, the Greeks.
Indeed I did.
Well, it didn't do you much good, did it? I mean, you still don't know why you're here.
No.
Well, I tell you, you're here because your novels are unreadable. You are here because your plays bore an audience rigid. You are here because you gave succor to James Joyce, another literary arsehole who bores his audiences rigid.
Don't be impertinent. I'm read in universities across the world.
Who buy? Academics who like crossword puzzles and write erudite essays to themselves. Students who are taught by the same academics that Beckett is good for you. Don't be daft. You are here permanently until you apologize to the world at large for inflicting intellectual garbage on unsuspecting students. Revolution! That's what we want. All together now. Burn Beckett's books. Burn Beckett's books. Burn Beckett's books. Enid Blyton forever.
You have the soul of a torturer. But as it happens, I did do firearms training in the hills. I went out at night with the local macchia.
Didn't fire a shot though, did you?
Well, no, I...
Was lily-livered. When they killed a lamb for food, you couldn't even watch, could you? Thank you. A hero of the French resistance who never fired a shot.
Resistance does not always require a force majeure. You remember Yvonne and Marcel?
Oh, dummies of the world unite, yes. Yvonne, I seem to remember, was a friend of your partner, Suzanne. You see, some of us can be politically correct. But you were a lucky man, weren't you? After the Paris fiasco, they managed to find you a house in the south of France, near Roussillon. Marcel even managed for you to acquire a residency permit.
Correct, and 3 years later, a florist denounced him to the Germans. He was a Jew, so they put him into the transit camps for Auschwitz. So I joined the resistance again.
And who dealt with the florist? Not you.
No, a few months after the liberation, several of the resistance walked into her shop, put their pistols to her head, and fired.
And why didn't you?
I don't like killing anything.
You prefer to relax.
Relax?
South of France.
The Germans were 30 miles away in Avignon.
You spent most of the war there working on your novel.
I earned my keep and Suzanne's keep. I worked on the farm.
Worked?
I picked cherries and grapes, harvested melons. I worked for nothing.
They fed you?
Yes.
Did either of you go hungry?
No.
Then you were paid, weren't you?
In a manner of speaking.
On the pig's back. That's you on the pig's back, south of France, warm accommodation, food enough to eat, working away on your novel. On the pig's back. That's you, piggyback. Oh, and no shortage of wine either, eh?
If you say so.
If I say so, this is wartime. Back in Paris, your friends would die. But you, vegetables, fruit, meat, fish, wine enough to drink, English books that you borrow, and Suzanne for sex. Hardly a penitential, Sammy boy.
What's your neck size? Yes.
Why?
I'm feeling a bit peckish.
A dummy. No blood.
Well, perhaps a little bit of manual strangulation.
No wonder you were betrayed.
80 of us.
It's your fault.
Perhaps if I poured acid down your throat.
But I'm your friend here.
I have no friends. Only acquaintances and prostitutes. And perhaps Suzanne.
Feeling sad for our elongated self, are we?
No.
Just a teeny weeny bit.
Hey, I'm the bloody vampire.
Since when do vampires try to strangle inanimate dummies?
Since they met you.
No wonder you were betrayed.
Moron! The entire cell was betrayed. 80 of us.
Let us say that I do give you the benefit of the doubt. What exactly were you doing that was so important?
The cell was part of the Special Operations Executive. Orders came from London. Intelligence was gathered from all over the occupied zone and delivered to me on scraps of paper. To my flat. I translated everything, collated and typed everything out, and brought the sheets of paper to Jimmy the Greek.
Jimmy the Greek! And he writes for a living. What happened?
There was a double agent.
Double life?
Yes.
Bit like you.
No.
What was his name? He thinks I don't know. Monsieur Robert Alesh.
A Catholic priest.
Preached anti-Nazi sermons by day outside Paris. At night, swapped his soutane for a suit, went to his Paris apartment where he drank and serviced 2 mistresses. You had 3 on the go at one time, I seem to remember, Mr. B.
So what if I did?
Average monthly earnings of a worker, 1,000 francs. Of course, you didn't work. Money from Mummy, allowance in Daddy's will.
On my passport, writer.
Good money.
No.
Monsieur Robert Alesh received 12,000 francs from the Nazis. You should have been a priest.
You forgot about the bonus he was paid for each one of the resistance he betrayed, including me.
How careless of me. When did you join the resistance?
None of your business.
Thanks. I know I can be an annoying git. Quits.
September the 1st, 1941. My friend Alfred Perron recruited me, introduced me to Janine Picabia, one of the founders of the cell. Gloria SMH was her code.
SMH? Joke?
On His Majesty's service. Backwards?
But you were Irish, in neutral state. Why did you join?
I can take care of myself.
Ah, Mr. B the boxer. That was a long time ago.
I remembered being in Germany, how the Jewish painters were treated.
Oh, so you're a good man now.
Well, I'm not an anti-Semite. I'm against anti-Semitism. I'm against any human being devalued, deracinated.
Good for you, old chap.
I know what it is to be picked on. Jewish houses and shops daubed with anti-Semitic slogans. The Jews themselves forced to wear a Star of David. Their properties burnt out, then rounded up, arrested, and put into deportation camps. When I was a boy, in 1916, the atrocities, my parents sent me to safety in the north. Well, now I knew what I had missed.
You could have just stayed stumm with your arms folded neatly across your breast.
I wanted to.
And?
It was August 1941. I met my friend Paul Lane.
He wasn't your friend. He was the secretary of James Joyce. He was an acquaintance.
He was a decent man. And Joyce didn't pay him. I met him in the streets. I said, they're rounding up Jews everywhere. My son has a school examination tomorrow. It's important. I have to wait. He was arrested the following morning. Interned. The concentration camps. I had to do something.
No, you didn't. You were a foreigner. You're Irish.
I'm Anglo-Irish, so I'm human.
You're a vampire.
Well, then I was human.
September the 1st, 1939.
Hitler invaded Poland. I was in Dublin. The following morning I left for France.
Why?
Well, I was of no use in Ireland.
Bored to death, were we?
I volunteered to drive an ambulance.
But you're as blind as a bat, and you'd already had one serious accident. What did you intend to do? Kill as many Frenchmen as possible?
I like the French.
Hate the Irish?
No.
Was that the reason that you couldn't wait to get off the island?
You know, the French have a word for people like you. Cretin.
I'm a dummy, dummy. So there you were in Paris, pestering the Irish legation. Wanted a formal statement, didn't you? Mr. B is a writer.
Well, I was.
Best kept secret, was it?
With the formal letter, I was entitled to a ration card. I had Suzanne to feed.
She was a Parisian. She had her own ration card.
Well, I did not wish to starve.
Starve? 250 grams of bread a day, 500 grams of sugar, and 250 grams of meat as well, 300 grams of coffee, 140 grams of cheese per month, 1 litre of wine a week, 1 pack of cigarettes a month. That was more than you had in Ireland. And you were always a long, lanky, undernourished git. That's why all the women wanted to mother you.
One mother was quite sufficient. Thank you very much.
Maybe it was sex. Availability of.
Oh, don't be distasteful.
Distasteful, you were shagging 3 women at the same time.
If you weren't a dummy, I'd assume that you were jealous.
Jealous? Ha! Me, Peggy Guggenheim. You weren't smoking opium, were you?
No.
It would explain Peggy Guggenheim. Ugly as sin, big bulbous nose, legs like knitting needles. What was the attraction?
She was a good fuck. I prefer taking coffee without brandy.
He means just sex. No love involved. Just shagging.
What's wrong with that?
And then there was the Irish woman. What's her name who ran the antique shop?
She enjoyed it.
And Suzanne.
I played tennis with her and her partner at the École Normale.
That was 6 years before. Some foreplay. What happened to the partner?
He left.
Ah! Independent woman then.
In a manner of speaking,
Not a good looker. Bit masculine, I'd say.
beauty is.
Most definitely not in the eye of the beholder.
I married her, I believe.
Couldn't live with her though, could you?
Couldn't live without her.
Solution?
I'm a practical man. I put her in an apartment next door.
Best of both worlds.
Yes.
Selfish.
Sensible. Strange. Often I have the feeling that someone else is writing my lines.
Vocalizing my lines.
It's irritating, that.
No, it isn't.
Yes, it is.
No, it isn't. Call yourself a writer. Ha! What else is a play but a rehearsal in the head, a cacophony of voices? You have choices. Choose. Be grateful.
Wait a minute, you're walking. You're a ventriloquist dummy. How could you?
Booze and blood. Lethal combination. You're imagining things. You've got the DTs. I haven't moved from this chair.
Well, if manual strangulation is out of the question, perhaps if I was to hang you by the neck from the rafters, it would give you pleasure in an autoerotic rush of adrenaline.
Oh, dearie me, depressed are we? Well, let's put your psychoanalytic investigation to good use. Suicidal fantasies. Sexual fantasies of a misogynistic nature. Mama! You are conflicted.
Pyromania.
What?
A funeral pyre. Nice fat faggots of wood. And then I set you on fire. Wood. Well seasoned. Should burn nicely.
Ah! Partial diagnosis only. I've got it. Intimations of mortality. You were stabbed. Just missed your heart.
It happens.
Stabbed by a pimp. Forgot to pay.
I always pay, mind you. This was random.
No wonder you almost shit yourself.
Mind your language.
Brings it all home to you though, doesn't it? Check your fingers. Death. Any moment, random. Just like that.
These things happen.
That moment when the knife went in. When death became a real possibility and before you blacked out. What did you think of?
None of your business.
Why?
It's private.
Mr. B, you did philosophy, logic, so tell me, if I am a dummy and I'm functional only when you are reanimated, what could possibly be more private than that?
You have a point.
Ticked my philosophical scorecard.
Indeed.
Spill the beans.
If you wish to converse with myself, especially on a matter of some delicacy, I'll thank you not to sully my ears with cliches, particularly of the American variety.
When death became a real possibility, what did you think of?
I saw myself as a child, with my father, hand in hand clambering up the mountainside. I saw myself in bed, alone, listening to the sounds of the stonecutters in the hills there. Hammers chipping away. I saw the larch tree turn green a week before every other tree. I knew that I was not alone. I knew that the sap in me would rise again, that I would continue to grow.
Glib psychological point. Trauma. You were in a coma, undead, so to speak.
As you said, glib.
Yes, but you got the pun.
Well, of course, terrible.
I thought it was quite good myself. Witty. But you don't do wit, do you?
Well, I have a parliament of scholars who would contradict you.
Ah, but they don't know you as well as I do. Scholars, schmucks. Hang the lot of them.
A trifle unreasonable, don't you think?
No.
Glib psychological point. Trauma. You were savaged by an academic whose wounding words left you with pent-up feelings of violence, which you have been unable to repress. See a psychiatrist. It will help you to regain an equable temperament as well as moderating your rather rudimentary language. Goodbye.
And where do you think you're going?
Off.
Off? Off where?
Off anywhere.
Anywhere in what direction?
Anywhere away from an irritating dwarfy dummy like you. Good day.
Dwarfing dummy is not politically correct.
Well, doubtless you'll tell me that gollywogs aren't politically correct.
They're not, so piss off.
How kind. You may not have realized it, but then again you are a dummy. But I move of my own volition. I am a free agent.
Wrong. You are a prisoner. And anywhere you go, I go.
Dwarfy bins.
Dwarfy bins?
A term of endearment for morons. Now, let us consider, Dwarfy Bins, the current situation. I, it would seem, am a vampire. You are a ventriloquist dummy, ergo, I control the dummy. Ergo, the dummy does what I tell him or it to do. Conclusion. If I wish, I can hack off an arm, a leg, a head.
This is not in the script.
No script.
No script.
Tonight, we improvise.
You never improvise. You're too much of a control freak.
There's always a the first
No,
time.
there isn't. No, this script, it's inviolable, it's immutable, it's unchanging, eternal.
Ever hear of a playwright called Pirandello?
Tonight we improvise.
Ah, a modicum of knowledge.
He's there. Who? Pirandello.
You know, I met him a while ago. He had a remarkably juicy neck I imbibed voluminously. Must be affecting the text.
You're trying to pull the wool over my eyes.
I don't knit.
That is a non sequitur.
No, it isn't. I really should introduce a tax on the stupid.
Ah, stupid Cupid, of course. The coma.
Homer? An irrelevance.
She kept coming to see you, didn't she? The woman you married. Face like a man, moneyed, pianist.
So what if she did?
So did Mr. Joyce.
Is there any point to this
Is
tergiversation?
there any point to using big words?
Oh, need a dictionary?
No, you acquired that habit from Mr. Joyce. He paid for a private room at the hospital for you, didn't he?
So what if he did?
Why?
The friendship.
Friendship. He was almost 50, you were 28, still wet behind the ears, social skills of a gnat.
We had similar interests.
Oh, yes.
Our degrees were in French and Italian.
And?
Well, we both liked listening to music.
But he liked opera, you hated it.
Of a morning, my concierge from the École Normale would inform me, Monsieur Joyce telephoned. He wants you to get in touch.
Ah, you're his dog's buddy.
He liked my company. We would go for long walks or for dinner, and then he would have a tipple. Or we would meet Norm at Kay's or Levi's.
What did he want?
He was a great exploiter. Everybody was Mr. Fuende, Mr. Beckish. Such remarkable linguistic abilities. French, English, German, and Italian literature he gorged on. Sounds, shapes, rhythms, etymologies, histories, arcane vocabularies, slang.
What did he want?
I did research for a work in progress.
That is the dead end called Finnegan's Way.
That is insulting.
Insulting me? Hemingway told you it was crap. But you were in awe of the man.
He was dedicated to his work.
My goodness, I do think I know someone like that.
I read to him, took notes for him. Sometimes he would dictate.
I got it. So Mr. Joyce, by example, taught you what not to do.
He did.
He did. Well, he was a gourmand. He added and added and added. You are an anorexic. You subtracted and subtracted and subtracted. I really should be a literary critic.
God forbid.
You don't believe in God?
A fear of speech.
Oh, is it really? The atheist who quotes scriptures, reads the Bible, snaffles up biblical images like a little boy snaffing cherries out of a Christmas cake, just like Mr. Joyce. He was your model.
Don't be absurd.
Absurd. Absurd. You dressed like him. You drank white wine just like him. You even wore shoes that were too narrow for you just like him. You knew how to get people to do things for you just like him. Was he wunderbar, marveleux, charmant?
He was a writer. That was his calling.
Oh, lofty man, his calling. And what about your scribbles? Are they your calling too? Do tell.
You are an ingrate. Henceforth, I have decided that you do not exist. You are a figment of my imagination. You, sir, are a bore.
As flies are we to the beckoned gods. A figment, a bore. Oh, sir, I hear the cock crow. You would deny me. You would deprive me of my manhood, every pulsing in my loins, every erection. But what have I done to deserve this? Tell me what? I rewrite your lines, I improve your grammar, I correct your mistranslations, I edit your ellipses. And what do I get? What do I get? A bad performance.
Ham. Pure ham.
If it's ham, then it's your fault.
Why?
You wrote the stage directions.
I wrote for proper actors.
I played the intent.
Badly.
Brilliantly. I have to mask the banality of the conception.
You unhinged precision with immense dollops of unearned extravagance.
I did.
You did.
I was waiting.
Forgot?
Oh. Thought you were an atheist.
I am, but you...
Me? I'm near the 97.5%, mate.
How absurdly vernacular. I do not acquire mates.
Doesn't matter what you want. It's what I do that counts. And if I want to call you mate, then I will. So up yours, mate.
You were saying...
Is there a sergeant in the house? A carpenter? An academic?
What use would an academic be?
Well, they could read the How to Make a Dummy book and put me back together.
By the time I'm finished with you, you'll be like Humpty Dumpty in Alice's Wonderland. Definitively deceased.
Ah! I've got it! It was all the fault of the psychiatrist. Though, actually, come to think of it, it could have been your mother's fault. Poor little boy, obsessively lavished with love by a martinet mother. No, that was the reason that you needed the psychiatrist. And all those eruptions of bodily fluids, boils, pimples, abscesses, acne, bursting through the thin teguments of the skin. It's good, ain't it?
Isn't it?
You are so ill. You can't control me. I will do what I like.
Well, I write the script.
We write the script. There's not a word, not a phrase, not a dot, not a comma that I don't contribute to. You see, that proves it.
Proves what?
That you're just a sadistic sod who, after 3 years of psychiatric treatment, knows how to vent his violent inhibitions. You will close your eyes now. Good. You will fall asleep, but you will still be able to answer my questions. Yeah? Did you have fantasies of a sexual nature involving your mother?
No.
Did you have fantasies of a violent nature?
Yes.
Did these fantasies involve your mother?
Yes.
In these fantasies, did you kill your mother?
Yes.
Did you strangle your mother?
No.
Did you shoot your mother?
No.
God in Himmel, did you knife your mother?
Yes.
Did you knife her again and again?
Yes.
Did you mutilate your mother?
No.
No. This isn't very interesting, Mr. B. I've heard lots of good gory stories with extreme violence, yeah? How can I be expected to cure my patients if their fantasies are boringly banal? The session is over. Same time next week, that will be £3, please. £3? Yeah.
But that's outrageous.
Well, what do you care? Your mother is paying. You see, it's just like any normal dirty little boy. Violence, sex, arrogance, more arrogance.
Where was the sex?
Suppressed. The psychiatric lark is dead easy. You had a problem childhood?
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did.
I was a sweet child. Golden curls, pretty clothes.
You see, cross-dresser.
I was considered to be a handsome youth.
True.
You're agreeing with me?
Of course. I always tell the truth. You were a handsome youth.
Oh, thank you.
There was a problem.
Only one.
I do the jokes. There was a problem.
Do tell.
You have to give it to him, don't you? It may have taken only 50 years, but he's finally turned into a mild, well-mannered, polite curmudgeon.
Problem?
Bollocks, buggers, and balls. There was a problem. A ginormous one, as big as
The circumference of your head.
bigger. No social skills. When he sees a girl that he fancies, what does he do? Does he do what you and I would do? Does he walk up and turn on the charm, shatter up, wait around for a quick shag and then bugger off? No siree. Yours truly just stands there, tongue-tied, face turning red. Put him into a party and he'll clear the room quicker than a Rottweiler. Oh, and doesn't change his underwear. The only time he gets his leg over is when he pays for it. I wonder if Mummy knew that's what you were spending your allowance on.
Sex. That which, by definition, wooden dummies cannot have, is a basic human need. It needs to be serviced. What would you have me do? Rape? Have sex with a corpse?
No, there's an interesting idea. But you don't seem to have noticed.
What?
You are a corpse.
You don't seem to have noticed.
What?
I still exchange bodily fluids. It's quite gratifying for a man of my age.
Ah, I get it. So all that suppressed pent-up violence is now expressed by biting into a juicy neck and sucking. Still no social skills. You see me as representing your mother. She wants to own you, to smother you, to control you. You want to stab her.
I've had enough of this. 3 years of psychiatry. And what do I get? I get a ventriloquist dummy who thinks he's a psychiatrist. You call that being cured? You do not exist.
Are you sure of that?
Yes.
Existential conundrum, Mr. B. If I do not exist, how come you are screaming in pain?
The pain is in my imagination.
Oh, I'm having some fun, Mr. B. I've managed to get more action into this little play in half an hour than you managed in an entire lifetime.
I scream, therefore I am. You are merely a parasite, like an intestinal worm. I am not violent. You are.
Dummy. Isn't that what I've been telling you all along? 3 years of psychiatry. You go home to Mummy and what do? You get pissed. You drive the car. You crash it. And it's a write-off. And the guards are looking for you. Wasn't your first drunken crash, was it?
No, I make no excuses.
Oh, that is so generous of you. You make no excuses.
No.
Well, let's see. You had previously been having an affair with a married woman. You're driving her and a friend of hers home. And you're so pissed that you drive straight into a roundabout and hey-ho, you're fine. But the friend is maimed for life. And hey presto, 6 years later, here you are, drunk and driving. You could have killed someone this time, couldn't you?
I didn't.
No thanks to you. Public-spirited were we? You'd already maimed one life through drunken driving, yet here you are, drunk and prepared to drive.
I was not nice then.
And now?
Well, I tried to be better.
What happened when Daddy died?
None of your business.
Maybe I should use this on your hand. You should have been a Catholic.
Don't be absurd. Mummy would have been appalled.
Oh, if you were a Catholic, you would have gone to confession. And all that pent-up guilt, fear, loathing, masturbation. You could have vomited it all up every fortnight and received absolution. Now look at you. You have to make do with me.
I shall write a play about a dummy who cannot speak. but whose constituent parts are unscrewed one by one until all that is left is a mouth into which a rag is stuffed. Endgame.
No, you won't. You're dead. All that you're fit for is resurrecting in the morning, slobbering over a juicy neck in the afternoon, and then retiring satiated to the dark confines of the coffin. Daddy. You died. Gave you nightmares, didn't it? Buried alive. You'd wake up in the dark with a blanket around you like a shroud, sweat drenched, heart racing. Unable to. What is your earliest memory?
I'm in the womb. There's something wrong. I can't get out. I'm kicking and screaming, but no one is listening. I'm smothering. I'm going to die.
Good, that is quite common. Already in the womb, you realize you will have a difficult relationship with your mother. You panic, you lash out. And then when you come into the real world, you do exactly the same. You panic, you lash out. Your body sees it as a poison, which is why you get the boils, separation of pus, a condensation of the nightmare, yeah? £3, please. Same time.
I write, therefore I am.
Oh, whoopee. Murphy, your novel. Written in 1936, published 2 years later. Nobody buys it.
Well, the public can be rather stupid.
Your poems, Echoes and Bones, published privately by a friend, vanishes without trace.
I was always better as a translator.
1934, your stories, more pricks than kicks, vanishes without trace also.
A lack of intelligence on the part of the reading public.
So there you are in literary London. Money from mummy, allowance in daddy's will, borrowing from the brother, on the pig's back. Not like all the other poor Irish sons who actually had to work for a living.
I was learning my craft.
Some craft you couldn't even make it as a reviewer, could you, in literary London? You, with all your advantages.
Could you?
Could I what?
Could you make it in literary London?
Well, I won't be as
Well,
good.
you what, dumbo?
I won't be as good as the material I'm given to work with.
You had lots of material. London, Paris, Dublin, Belfast, Germany, Campbell College, Portora Royal, L'École Normale, Trinity College. Hundreds of characters.
Loads of boring material. You need a real writer to bring boring material to life.
You need experience of life. I didn't have it then.
So you're agreeing with me?
I tell the truth.
Stop filching my lines, you lackluster actor.
What an actor.
Poser, flanner, truth avoider.
Truth avoider? Well, that's awkward. Cumbersome. I would never write a line like that.
You've just heard me quoted from the script, Dumbo.
Well, it's obviously an early draft. Kindly use the finished script.
You've been living in Paris for far too long. All that theory, structuralism, post-structuralism, Derrida, assorted bollocks. Next you'll be telling me the author didn't write the script.
Well, you didn't. You seem to have problems even finding the finished draft.
If I didn't write it, how come you can hear me speaking it?
You're an actor. Useless cast. Just say the lines in the right order. No deviation, no improvisation, no rhetorical flourishes. As written.
I'm an actor. You'd reduce me to that. I'm insulted.
At last, some spark of realism. Actors are cattle.
Hitchcock said that.
And who's he?
Now don't get cute. First time you saw Psycho, you were convinced he based Norman Bates on you.
A director simply follows the script. His job is to realize it as written.
No deviation?
No.
No improvisation?
No.
But an actor needs to explore the script, to make it his own. That is why theatre is a collaborative art.
Collaboration means people doing what I tell them to do, and what I tell them is written in the script.
You don't think you're being just a teeny weeny bit fascist, do you?
No. The meek do not inherit the earth.
Oh, and are you one of the meek or the inheritors of the earth?
What do you choose?
Ah, clever. That would leave the responsibility to me. You choose.
No, thank you.
Choose?
No. I shall retreat into silence.
That is precisely what you did as a lecturer.
I always did my duty.
Professor Rudmore Brown. You're one of his favorites. He got you a job as one of his assistants at Trinity, and what did you do in return?
I lectured.
Lectured. You bore them to death. You despised them, and they knew it.
I did my research. I wrote a talk for each lesson I gave.
You call that teaching? A dummy could do better. You were boring.
Pearls before swine.
The only time there was a spark of interest in one of your classes was when you, resplendent in your gown, elbow on the mantelpiece, sucking up the heat from the fire, managed to accidentally set yourself on fire. You were always a tall, thin streak of misery, well, a tall, thin streak of misery dancing around like a mountain goat. The only time in your entire career when you managed to rivet the entire class.
That is your interpretation.
No, it's not. After you'd left, someone asked one of your erstwhile students where you'd gone. The reply was, gone to Paris to commit suicide. Like father, like son.
What do you mean by that, oh, wooden one?
Daddy died.
I did...
Moron. Now, pay attention. Daddy died.
That he did. He left me. With Mother.
Did you like him?
He had a big bookcase in his room. Complete set of Dickens. Set of encyclopedias. Never opened them.
What did he open?
Thrillers. Edgar Wallace. By his bedside table. He loved Edgar Wallace. After a long day in the office, he'd take the train from Dublin city centre to Rathfarnham. And then he'd walk the mountainy roads through Dundrum, Sandyford, Stillorgan, then cut through the racecourse. His friend, the clerk, worked there. Then back for dinner, and up to his room to emerge into the world of Mr. Edgar Wallace.
He liked walking.
He did. Of a weekend, he'd take me out. Across the Ballyogan Road. Across the high road. Tramping up through the purple heather as far as the Three Rock Mountain. And then across to the Two Rocks, where we'd stand, looking out towards the distant sea. Or we'd walk to Sandy Cove. And he'd dive in from the rocks, and I'd see him far below, waving me to dive in after him. Happy days. Footfalls went past.
Did he tell you?
Yes. Later, much later. Just before he died.
What do you think she was like?
He fell in love with her. She must have been beautiful.
She was a Catholic.
That she was.
Family wouldn't allow the match.
That they wouldn't. He died still loving her.
Women.
Families. I never really had a family. I had Dad. He died.
You had a brother, Jack?
He died.
Not before he lent you enough money to buy a distillery.
Strange.
What?
What we inherit.
From Dad?
Whist, walking, golf, tennis, athletics, swimming.
Sex?
Well, I don't think he got much of that. 2 children, duty done.
All that walking.
Sublimation.
You inherited that?
That I did.
Unsatisfactory.
Wasn't for want of trying.
Wasn't for want of lusting, you mean?
Yes, true.
Peggy died? Same year as Dad?
She broke my heart.
You don't have a heart.
Not after her. I did.
$1928.
Summer, 1928. My friend Charles arrived from America.
Not the only one.
No, cousin Peggy.
Opposites attract.
She was extrovert, green eyes,
Teutonic accent, educated in Germany.
strange, odd, syntactical and grammatical slips. I was fascinated.
Gobsmacked.
If you must.
She liked you.
I never did figure out why.
Mind you, she also liked that artist fellow. What was his name? Cecil Sorkeld.
I started learning German.
Mummy was horrified.
I bet you're learning
I
German.
told you, I do the jokes. She seduced you.
Wasn't hard.
You were never really that good in bed.
But I worked at it.
True.
She was...
The first one you didn't pay for.
Don't be
But
coarse.
it's true.
It was a real romance.
You blossomed. Like a mushroom on a turd.
You defile the memory.
But what else do writers do?
Only sometimes.
And then at the end of the year, she enrolled in a school of music and drama in Vienna.
She did.
You decided to follow her.
I did. Mummy and I had a series of monumental rows.
Well, you were Mummy's boy. You were not going to be Peggy's boy.
Well, Mummy lost. For a while.
Did she ever let you forget it?
No. I was almost happy.
Tuberculosis.
Yes. Quite indiscriminate.
Your friend Charles.
I had a sporty little car. Daddy bought it, you'll remember.
You got everything you wanted. A set of golf clubs at 10. Membership of the golf club at 10. 2 motorbikes and the sports delight.
Charles was a sport.
Peggy's younger sister, Olive 9.
Sat in the back with Charles, who told her amazing stories about grizzly bears and the wild, wild west.
While you sat in the front and gawked at Peggy.
She had long, slender legs and a summer skirt.
And you drove very fast and the wind.
Yes.
The occasional straying hand.
Yes.
Like father, like son.
How?
Neither of you got the girl.
True. Embers.
Still.
Yes.
Professor Rudmore Brown.
Yes.
Never knew what he saw in you.
A follower.
Yes, but there were awards.
Yes?
He got you that job at Campbell College before you went to Paris?
That he did. A decent sort.
A dirty old man. All those parties of his, all those young students, young female students, and then he would turn the light down. Voyeur, was he?
He took care of me.
Somebody had to.
Campbell College.
No Catholics.
Mummy liked that.
Did you?
Like Campbell.
Mm-hmm.
No.
The cream of the Ulster population.
Yes. Rich and thick. I played cricket with the boys.
Sterling stuff. How else do you prepare a boy for the administration of the British Empire?
I taught them French grammar and translation. I read them Shakespeare.
And were they impressed?
No. Master William Duff Gibbon, M.A. DSO, M.C.
Scotty, you adored the man. Irony.
He wished to produce useful Christian citizens, so he requested me to beat the boys. I refused.
But you managed to persuade a young housemaid to bring you up breakfast in bed on a Saturday.
This is not a bloody hotel, you know, Mr. B. I like Port Rush.
You like the golf course there.
Yes.
Belfast.
Dreary, no grace, dull, industrialized, dumb.
Any saving graces?
No.
Far cry from Dublin and Trinity.
Another world, Trinity.
Little rich boy.
I was not little. Tall, slim, reddish brown hair, nose like a Roman emperor's, aquiline.
Protruding ears, spectacles, small, round, metal frames, shy as a virgin in a brothel, arrogant.
Bright blue eyes. They always noticed.
They,
Women.
the women who wouldn't sleep with you.
I didn't ask.
Most of the time.
True.
Most of the time you paid.
Yes.
Yes. Women weren't allowed to speak to men at Trinity, were they?
No.
Just as well, they could have told you where to go.
They didn't need to speak.
No. Professor Rudmore Brown.
Ronsard, Racine, Petrarch, he didn't like Corneille.
So you didn't like Corneille.
No.
Bianca Esposito.
Small, plump, private tutor.
Italian lessons, the Divine Comedy.
I still have it. Annotated.
Trinity College.
Do you ever give up?
Do you, Trinity?
Going to the Abbey, the Playboy, the Well of the Saints, the Tinker's Wedding.
Trinity.
Going to the cinema. Buster Keaton, Sherlock Jim, the Navigator, Chaplin, the Kid, the Gold Rush.
Trinity.
Going to the National Gallery. Golf. Handicap of 7.
Represented the college.
Yes.
Joined Carrying Minds Golf Club.
As a student member.
Daddy paid.
Yes.
Rode a motorcycle.
I like driving fast.
On what is now Pier Street.
Bill.
Pillion passenger.
A bag of golf clubs, no helmet, frosty road, cobbled streets. He fell off.
He was not the agency.
I was riding a trifle fast.
Cornering whilst in a skid creates gravitational problems for the passenger.
Fell off.
He did.
Carrick Mines, the golf club. I liked the club professional.
You liked to challenge him. You offered him 7 and 6pence once if he beat you. Only a little rich boy could offer money like that.
If I couldn't sleep, I'd see the Dublin Hills in the distance, and then I'd play the course. Every hole on that heather-covered, heather-scented course.
Even once you made it into the reference books.
That I did. Cricket. 2 tours of England for Trinity.
You hold a record.
I do.
You do. The only Nobel Prize winner to have an entry in wisdom.
Proper Bible.
Which do you prefer?
I prefer?
Nobel Prize wisdom.
Well, wisdom, of course.
Listen. Listen. Children of the Night.
What music they make. A boring book, Dracula.
Look who's talking. Remember your first year at Petora? A fine Protestant school.
According to Mother.
Mummy didn't want us to stay in Dublin during the Troubles.
You should be grateful.
Well, I was. All that cross-country running.
Boxing, cricket,
You knocked one unfortunate lad out of the ring.
semi-final. Light heavyweight boxing champion. Quite good, I thought. Swimming.
In winter, in open rivers, you were a masochist. Ooh, pain.
The brother was sent first. 1916, the rising death.
Remember your second year at Pretoria.
Ireland was partitioned. From the cricket ground, you could see Lower Lochar and all of its islands stretching all the way up into the boring north. No wonder it was partitioned.
Officers' Training Corps.
There's Remembrance Hall.
You were bullied.
Only for a while, once I'd learned to box.
You demonstrated what a body would look like after you punched it repeatedly. And repeatedly. And repeatedly.
They had to pull me off.
It was a mass of livid bruises, burst lips, puffed up eyes like magenta grapefruit.
Nobody bullied me ever again. Northerners were different.
Well, the headmaster had a club foot.
Right arm, odd, partly paralysed. Queer folk, Northerners.
Good grounding in Latin.
Proved useful with Mr. Joyce.
Anything else useful?
Bridge and chess, music lessons.
In retrospect.
Oscar Wilde. He used to be a pupil.
You never knew him.
I met him a while ago. In a very fleshy neck. Pity about the plays. I preferred Gilbert and Sullivan.
You played the music, but you wrote your own little words, dirty little ditties.
Did I? Must have been the absence of the feminine principle. No sisters.
Mother,
What about her?
feminine principle.
She could take words and club you to death with them.
You loved her.
Don't be preposterous.
You hated her.
Don't be absurd.
You felt that spit roasting was too good for her.
I am not a violent man.
Does it mean you don't have violent thoughts?
I can control them.
So you did want to spit roast her?
No. But if I was to smear you with goose grease, you would spit roast rather nicely.
You can't cook. Never could.
Neither could mother.
But she didn't need to. We hired a cook.
I didn't need to. I went to a restaurant.
Earlsford House Preparatory School.
Never heard of it.
There was a young man, name of B, whose testes were too small to see.
100 boys, even allowed the odd Catholic.
I'm surprised Mummy allowed you to go there.
They knew their place.
Did you?
Cricket, rugby, tennis, golf. My first set of golf clubs when I was
10, yes, we heard. Show us.
What?
How to play golf.
No.
Poorly golfer.
No, I wasn't.
Prove it! In the rough!
No, it is not.
Excuse us. You may have to chip it out. Should I help you?
No, thank you.
Adequate!
Adequate.
Good 6 yards off. With your eyesight, you'll never get it in. Cool dry now. The joys of home. The big yard outside with the coal hole. Beyond that, the bantam hens scratching around the hen house. And beyond that, the greenhouse where Daddy used to grow his tomatoes.
You're disturbing my concentration.
What concentration? Inside, the red, ripe floor of the kitchen. That lovely big range, the only place in the entire house where you could be warm. The pantry, the scullery, the larder. I told you weren't very good. Mother was quite fond of dogs.
I never kept pets.
Cool dry now.
Yes?
There were larches in the garden.
Yeah.
You used to climb them.
Yes.
And then there was Bibby, our nurse.
Large woman, sucked clothes, talked non-stop.
She was a Catholic. Strange that.
I think I know someone of an equally loquacious character. That's better.
Remember what you would say if you didn't eat your dinner.
One day you'll follow a crow for a crust. She taught me nursery rhymes, read me fairy tales. We'd recite the Lord's Prayer and then...
Dear God, bless Daddy, and make me a good boy through Jesus Christ. Amen.
Mummy and I went to church regularly.
Daddy refused. Good thing, too.
We sang hymns. I liked that.
Abide with me, fast falls eventide. The darkness deepens, Lord, with me abide. You're an atheist.
We all need to hold on to something.
You were always a nervous little boy, especially at night. You had to have your favorite teddy.
Baby Jack.
You had to have a nightlight.
I tied the teddy to the top of the brass bedstead.
We'd be in bed with the brother,
Listening to the sounds of the dogs barking in the hills nearby.
the creaking of the gate at the end of the driveway, somebody going out or coming in.
The clip-clap-clod of horses' hooves echoing on a misty road.
The wind in the trees wailing, whimpering, caterwauling.
And then when morning finally came, always too late, the clink and chink of tin can on pottery jug, the whistling of the milkman, the imaginary thud of his giant footsteps. Do you know the Cocker Spaniel?
Pop-a-lot. So called because when the postman came on his bicycle skidding down the stores of the driveway, Pop-a-lot would arise from his carrier, cock up a leg, fart, jump onto the vacated saddle, fart, jump down onto the driveway, fart, and then amble over to his lord and master for a good scratch behind the ears.
Is this information of any consequence?
I thought the inconsequential was the sine qua non of your plays.
Sine qua non.
No point in having an expensive education if you don't get to use it.
The Dummykins has a point.
Dummykins. I do believe you are losing your sense of reality at last, Mr. B.
Oh, I have no sense of reality. I never did have. I was always interested in what was beyond it.
That would explain the hedgehog.
What hedgehog?
The hedgehog that you put into one of Mummy's old hat boxes, along with a choice selection of worms, some straw, and then forgot about it entirely.
That hedgehog.
2 weeks later, following the stench, we took off the lid.
A remarkable selection of maggots, ready for scientific investigation.
Circumnavigating a pool of putrescence.
Oh, I do approve of your use of alliteration.
You do.
I do.
You were quite blonde as a child, pretty.
So?
Androgynous.
We all are.
The brother died of cancer.
So?
The back of the blackthorn hedge.
Ah, cool driver.
Fierce temper had our mother.
Yes.
And Martinette, in another lifetime, she would have been a sergeant major.
Yes.
Unlike Daddy.
Yes.
Insomnia.
Afraid to sleep.
We'd wake up in a black box.
A narrow, pitch black box, unable to move.
Unable to breathe.
Dying.
Buried alive.
I don't think I liked my childhood.
Me neither.
You remind me of it.
I do.
You do.
So?
It's you or me.
Don't be ridiculous.
You or me.
I am a writer. I write, therefore I am.
Not any longer. I was born on Good Friday, 1906. I didn't ask for twins.
You shot me.
Observant, isn't he?
Is this it? The end. Where Infinity meets finity. Is this the proof of Einstein's second theory of relativity? But what if we're living on the edge of a black hole, we fall in, and time runs backwards? Will I resurrect? I'm dying. Possibly. Conceivably.
Definitively.
Is this a far, far better thing I do now than I've done before?
No.
Is this a choir of virgins I see before me?
Bad chance.
But I see a light, a glowing light.
No, you don't. You're 99.9999% decisively dead, so shut the fuck up.
No, you can't speak to me like that.
Peace at last. Serenity.
I will arise and go now, and go to Innisfree.
Reflex action. The joys of silence.
I grow old, I grow old. I will wear the bottoms of my trousers rolled.
Maybe I should embalm him. Anyone know how to embalm a dummy?
Ah, I've got it 1,000 icky birds sitting down to lunch. Gobble, 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 gobble.
Is it me or is it getting cold? Warmer. Listen to my children of the night. What music they make.
That's music. Schoenberg wouldn't have done it better, Mr. B. Mr. B?
You're dead.
As in, when I have fears that I may cease to be. Ah. Got it.
Back to the womb. Be seeing you.
La pendule fait tic-tac, tic-tic. Les oiseaux du lac pic-pac, pic-pic. Glou, glou, glou font tous les dindons. Et la jolie cloche ding-ding-dong. Mais boum, quand notre cœur fait boum, tout avec lui dit boum. Et c'est l'amour qui s'éveille. Boum, il chante Loving Bloom.